After the conclusion of World War II, Admiral Byrd was asked if he would mount a large armada and go for 4 months. But by the end of February, something happened.
What if a hidden civilization, older than any known to history, lay buried beneath miles of Antarctic ice? Imagine a secret so vast that for over 70 years, top military and scientific personnel have been sworn to silence. These are not idle rumors, but coordinated testimonies from credible insiders, including award-winning investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe's decades-long research. Why would multiple world powers keep such a discovery under wraps? What advanced technologies and ancient structures have they recovered? And why does the silence in response speak louder than any official denial could? A mysterious discovery in 1982. In 1982, a routine supply flight took an unexpected turn over Antarctica. A U.S. Navy flight engineer, part of a crew flying from McMurdo Station to a remote research camp, was forced to make an emergency landing on an exposed ridge due to equipment malfunction. As the crew worked to repair the aircraft under brutal conditions, biting winds, near zero temperatures, the engineer noticed something unusual on a distant ice-covered rise. Shapes appeared too geometric, too precise, to be natural ice formations. Curiosity pulled him closer, and what he saw challenged every known geological explanation. Partially uncovered by years of wind and ice erosion, there was a massive structure, angular, solid, and composed of a material unlike ice or rock. But before he could investigate further, a radio message ordered an immediate return to McMurdo. No reasons were given. The crew was singled out for official debriefings, and their flight logs were suddenly classified. Upon landing, intelligence officers awaited them, separating the crew and making it clear the event was to be erased from all records. They signed additional non-disclosure agreements and were given one simple instruction: forget this happened. This reaction raised profound questions. What was so sensitive about the sighting, and why was it buried beneath layers of secrecy? For nearly 2 decades, the flight engineer kept silent, his extraordinary experience locked away, until he decided to speak to Linda Moulton Howe. Linda, an Emmy award-winning investigative journalist, was no stranger to classified information or government secrecy. When the engineer reached out in 1998, she carefully verified every detail: his service records, the dates, coordinates, crew members, everything checked out. Yet she did not rush to publish. She understood the gravity of the claim and the need for further corroboration. This was just the beginning of a much larger story. Over the next 20 years, Linda would receive calls from witnesses with no connection to each other, all describing fragments of the same impossible truth. Scientists, military personnel, contractors from different eras and bases shared their own secret accounts of strange findings beneath the Antarctic ice. None had met before, yet their testimonies strangely aligned. Each account described complex, highly structured underground environments, far too vast and engineered to be natural, and all were similarly silenced, pressured into secrecy with threats and agreements. What emerged from these scattered reports was no single incident, but a hidden pattern, a pattern suggesting something ancient, something unnatural, concealed beneath one of the coldest, most remote places on Earth. Even more striking was the realization that many of these witnesses chose Linda as their trusted confidant. They came forward one by one, some on the brink of death, compelled to share what they knew before it was too late. This pattern pointed to a secret too large to ignore, yet far too risky to reveal. It was a secret with layers still obscured beneath ice and silence. That eerie silence and the growing weight of multiple testimonies soon led to connections no one expected. Patterns in witness testimonies. As the years passed, Linda Moulton Howe found herself at the center of a growing web of eyewitness accounts. The stories from people who had no links to one another began to paint a remarkable mosaic. Military personnel described vast underground cavities detected by ice-penetrating radar, cavernous voids far too geometric and precise to be natural caves. When one geophysicist alerted his superiors to this data, the entire team was reassigned and the findings classified within hours. On another occasion, a Navy construction battalion was sent to work on a silent, unpublicized excavation site miles away from official bases. There was no scientific briefing, no ice core drilling, only straight drilling operations. At the bottom, they found walls and structures that looked manufactured, metallic surfaces that shimmered unnaturally beneath the ice. The battalion member recalled the chilling thought, someone built this. Meanwhile, researchers at Argentina's Esperanza base reported recurring incidents where artifacts dating back over 12,000 years were pulled from ice cores, only to be confiscated immediately by military personnel. These priceless relics vanished without record or explanation, leaving no trace in scientific literature or public knowledge. It was as if an entire chapter of history was being erased. The Antarctic pilots reported complete no-fly zones that official charts did not show. The military operations required special permissions to enter these areas, which prohibited civilian flights. The superior officers responded to inquiries with sensitive research, stop asking. The independent testimonies revealed one fundamental fact, that ancient artificial items existed beneath the ice, and all world powers knew about their existence. Linda compiled these accounts because she wanted to protect dangerous information that only she possessed. The professionals brought these documents to the public because they wanted to prove their case without believing conspiracy theories. The witnesses possessed information they needed to conceal, yet they decided to share their insights with her instead. The collected evidence from eyewitnesses remained unproven because no physical evidence existed for the public to examine. The researchers suffered from their inability to disclose everything because they only possessed incomplete elements of a mysterious, complete solution. The investigators distributed new witness accounts as new elements for the investigation, yet the complete investigation remained unfinished. The improbable nature of these claims made Linda both careful yet determined to continue with her work. The combination of information sharing and unified silence patterns revealed a planned operation that maintained discovery secrets for more than 70 years. Public Antarctic research activities contained a hidden operational framework that included military missions that operated outside scientific research. The collective silence internally oppressed both Linda and her sources. What came next was from a hidden world of classified operations and untold secrets. The NORAD connection. In 2016, Linda received a message from someone claiming the highest level of credibility she had ever encountered, a retired NORAD officer with access to classified Antarctic operations that had never been publicly acknowledged. This man's account did not merely add to previous testimonies, it silently reassembled decades of scattered fragments into a single, astonishing narrative. He revealed the existence of multiple artificial structures beneath the West Antarctic ice sheet, located just 2 meters beneath the surface in some areas. These were no natural formations but engineered constructs, built with precision and intention. What shocked Linda most was the age of these structures, dating back over 12,000 years, far predating the last ice age when Antarctica was not a frozen wasteland, but a fertile continent with rivers and forests. This time frame shifted the paradigm. It meant these buildings were older than the earliest known civilizations, thousands of years before Sumer, before the Egyptian dynasties, before any recorded human settlement. According to the NORAD officer, these structures were immense, resembling a vast urban complex rather than scattered ruins or an obscure outpost. Buildings, technology, and infrastructure hinted at a civilization so advanced it defied conventional history. The officer tied this knowledge directly to Operation High Jump, the 1946 to 1947 United States naval expedition led by Admiral Richard Byrd. Officially, Operation High Jump aimed to establish research bases and train personnel in polar conditions. The classified truth, however, involved seismic surveys detecting unexplained anomalies beneath the ice, anomalies that were immediately classified and never discussed. For more than 70 years, covert recovery missions by the United States, Russia, and China have been quietly operating across Antarctica. These are not scientific investigations, but covert archaeological excavations and technology retrievals, separate from the publicly known Antarctic Treaty activities. According to the source, some recovered devices still function, though their purpose and origins remain unknown. When Linda asked for proof, the NORAD officer provided coordinates, internal documents marked with classified project codes, and names of involved personnel. She was given paths to verify and follow up, yet the silence from official channels remained deafening. It was as if the entire world had agreed to pretend none of this existed outside these secret circles. The story beneath the ice was far from over, and what came next plunged even deeper into a covert world few dared to imagine. Military operations and technology recovery. Beneath the frozen expanse of Antarctica, classified excavation missions have been quietly underway for decades, far removed from any public research program. Witnesses describe drilling operations masquerading as routine scientific work that actually serve as cover for accessing deep underground structures. One military contractor recalled descending over a mile into an ice shaft, where the environment abruptly shifted from natural ice to smooth, metallic walls, an unnatural underground chamber filled with enigmatic symbols and a constructed doorway. This hidden facility was vast and mysterious, with access strictly controlled and limited to those with the highest clearances. These covert operations involved not just exploration, but active recovery of artifacts and technology. According to testimonies, some devices pulled from these sites are functional, though their purpose remains undeciphered. The recovered materials include alloys with corrosion resistance and strength ratios unmatched by any known manufacturing process on Earth. Such advanced metallic composite materials hint at technologies far beyond current capabilities, suggesting an origin that challenges our understanding of human history and technological progress. Testimonies also reveal a systematic process of reverse engineering at classified U.S. facilities. Numerous artifacts and recovered technology are transported under strict security, escorted by armed military personnel, and subjected to intense study and analysis. Unlike typical archaeological examination, this reverse engineering aims to unlock how these objects work, potentially offering insights or applications that could shift the technological landscape. The implications extend beyond science. They suggest a decades-long secret program quietly shaping military and technological advancements. Beyond individual finds, multiple witnesses have described a sprawling urban complex buried beneath the ice, complete with infrastructure and signs of an advanced civilization. Natural ice caves created by shifting glaciers provide some access points, while drilling rigs probe other areas, all under intense secrecy. This vast, ancient city defies the accepted timeline of human civilization and raises questions about who built it and what happened to its creators. Governments appear intent on maintaining this information as their most guarded secret. The operations depend on human workers who bring serious effects to their work activities. The personnel who work with contractors have to follow strict non-disclosure agreements, which include threats of criminal prosecution to other parties. The dying military contractor from a military background who spent years in silence broke his silence to disclose the existence of secret military operations which he found hidden under the ice. The evidence presents psychological effects that result from maintaining a secret that has potential to transform historical narratives. The government maintains secrecy to safeguard national security while hiding information that would challenge established academic and historical and scientific narratives. The scientific community and public research missions, through their open approach to transparency, creates a direct contrast with their secret operations which handle sensitive material. The military and intelligence services function in concealed operations, while scientific research teams conduct their work without knowledge of secret findings which they are not permitted to study. The organization uses multiple methods to create false information, which extends to their control of every piece of data and visual content. Antarctica satellite analysts who monitor the region say that they have discovered coordinates that have been removed from public data while viewing areas that have been obscured through pixelation, which makes it impossible to see human-made structures. The digital deletions stop scientists and the general public from studying essential evidence, which makes it impossible to confirm specific assertions. The effort to erase and manipulate evidence naturally leads to the question, what do the authorities say when confronted with these revelations? Evidence and government silence. Presenting these extraordinary claims to governments worldwide has yielded an eerie and unanimous response: absolute silence. Despite decades of testimony from credible military, scientific, and intelligence insiders, no official entity has issued denials, clarifications, or legal challenges. This silence speaks volumes, as it avoids providing the straightforward rebuttal that would discredit the entire narrative. Instead, authorities seem locked in a collective standoff, neither confirming nor denying the existence of ancient structures or advanced technology beneath Antarctica. Requests by independent researchers for historical ice-penetrating radar data and satellite imagery have been routinely denied or classified under national security. These refusals reinforce the notion that vital information is being actively withheld to preserve secrecy. The continent, nominally governed by treaties promoting peaceful scientific collaboration, is effectively partitioned into zones shielded from open investigation. Resources and permits necessary for accessing these restricted areas are tightly controlled, and whistleblowers face immense pressure to comply with non-disclosure. Even satellite imagery analysts within governmental or civilian roles report encountering special access protocols that prevent full visibility over certain Antarctic regions. Shadowy data manipulation, digital scrubbers actively erasing or blurring evidence of unnatural formations has been noted. Those who raise questions internally often face dismissal or reassignment. The systematic censorship of visual data aims to choke off independent verification and maintain the official narrative of Antarctica as an untouched frozen wilderness. Meanwhile, former Antarctic personnel corroborate the existence of no-go zones. These restricted areas are not part of public maps, and staff are warned to avoid questions or venturing near sensitive sites. Such admissions confirm that alongside the visible scientific work lies a parallel classified operation of unknowable scope and intent. This double reality, the official public research and the hidden military activity, fuels suspicion and challenges political transparency worldwide. The devastating part is that multiple governments, including the United States, Russia, and China, are implicated in the long-standing cover-up. This multinational silence is rare and unusually coordinated given geopolitical tensions, suggesting the importance of what lies beneath the ice. To all involved, it also emphasizes that Antarctica holds more than scientific interest. It is a battleground for control over ancient, potentially game-changing discoveries. Linda Moulton Howe's accusations, from an award-winning journalist with 4 decades of credibility, have met no direct rebuttal. Instead, the void of official comment has only heightened intrigue and suspicion. If these claims were false or fabricated, public denial would be the simplest way to end the speculation. Their reluctance to engage confirms the stakes are far higher than anyone might have imagined. When silence becomes the loudest message, the urgency to preserve these testimonies before they vanish grows stronger. Legacy and urgency of truth. As decades passed, Linda Moulton Howe found herself the last living link to a vast network of eyewitnesses who entrusted her with a secret of immense historical weight. Many of these individuals, including the Navy flight engineer whose call started it all, have since passed away. Their testimonies, once whispered under the threat of silence, now rest solely with Linda. The realization that these voices could be lost forever weighed heavily on her, infusing her work with a profound sense of responsibility. By 2020, Linda had compiled more than 15 credible testimonies, complete with verified coordinates, operation names, and the names of involved personnel. This body of evidence pointed to one of the most consequential secrets in modern history, yet the people who held its pieces were disappearing. The disappearance of these witnesses threatened to bury the truth beneath layers of time and secrecy, erasing decades of investigation and experience. This urgency transformed Linda's approach. No longer willing to let these stories fade quietly into oblivion, she began assembling a comprehensive Antarctic report. This extensive compilation documents every detail accessible, coordinates of exposed structures, declassified Operation High Jump documents, and transcripts from her interviews, carefully anonymized to protect sources. What was once fragmented testimony became a coherent archive, preserved for future generations. The research copies that Linda submitted to various institutions serve as her response to the changing funding requirements of her project. The insurance policy protects her research findings, which she cannot share because it will continue to exist after her death. Her commitment reflects a deeper understanding. The preservation of truth is not just a journalistic duty, but a moral imperative. The endeavor protects against the danger that silence will win over revelations. Linda issued a challenge to both governments and independent scientists to conduct verification of the research results. The authorities have released the geographical coordinates, which enable satellite observers and ice-penetrating radar teams from different countries to investigate the locations. The official channels remain inactive, which creates a situation that people perceive as intentional information suppression. The silence, which Linda points out, represents the strongest proof that these findings must be taken seriously. Linda intends to create a documentary that includes complete witness statements because she wants to produce a film that delivers more than just evidence to viewers. She wants people to examine her evidence according to her instructions because she does not want them to accept her claims without questioning her. The story evidence from multiple decades combined with verified details provides strong reasons to explore the case further. Our mission forces us to deal with complex problems that require us to find answers. If governments have protected these facilities for more than 70 years, while they secretly retrieved lost technology and rewritten human history, expected what more information lies hidden from us? What additional information are we prevented from understanding? The work of Linda brings illumination to hidden areas because truth discovery demands more than just factual information. If you found this story as astonishing as I did, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into mysteries that shape our world. Every truth needs a voice, and your support makes that possible.